So Madonna's star was on the rise during the filming.
Not when we started, though. Not when
Yeah.
we started. I knew Madonna because she lived 3 blocks away from me in New York. She lived in Soho. And because of Smithereens, I had friends that were part of like the downtown music scene, the downtown club scene. So I had heard her name bantied around, and I knew she had a song that was playing on MTV, and this was the early days of MTV. I think the song was Borderline,
Yeah.
but it was getting some play. But it wasn't. She wasn't a big act yet by any means. In fact, when I suggested her to the head of Orion, Mike Medavoy, and Barbara Boyle, they didn't know who she was and asked that she come out to meet them and do a screen test. And I tell the story in the book that fortunately Barbara Boyle had a 15-year-old son who thought Madonna was cute or sexy and had, been a fan of Borderline or Holiday or one of her early songs, and kind of pushed his mother into wanting to meet Madonna. But maybe had it not been for that 15-year-old kid, or had things gone differently, who knows how the movie would have turned out. But again, just like with Smithereens, I knew Richard Hell was right for that role once I met him. And my goal in Smithereens was to get his persona into the character on film. And I felt the same way with Madonna. I thought she knew how to flirt with the camera. I knew the camera liked her. I knew she was a dancer and could move. And that's really important.
Yeah,
Couldn't have picked.
we watched. We recently had Alan Hunter on our podcast, and he was talking about his first interview with Madonna in '84, and so we went back and watched it, and she's talking about Desperately Seeking Susan like it's a romantic comedy. She's going to be playing like a Judy Holliday, Carol Lombard type role. Is that the way you were instructing her to? Like, this is a romantic, this is like, think of screwball comedies or, kind of like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Desperately Seeking Susan is a kind of new twisted take on an old screwball comedy. It uses, and intentionally so, it uses devices from screwball comedies of the 30s and early 40s, like mistaken identities, like amnesia, and it uses them on purpose. I'm kind of doing it with a bit of a wink wink nudge nudge, because I know that they're devices, but I thought that they were great devices to use for a movie with the theme of transformation, somebody who wants to reinvent themselves and be somebody else. What better way than to conk your head, get amnesia, and then become the person you really want to be?
Yeah, right. And that's what, but
I'd sign
actually
up
in
for
this
that.
interview, she was also talking about that. Like, acting is harder. You're going to have to learn how to lose your inhibitions. And I think it made her, she kind of alludes that made her a better performer, is acting and, kind of losing yourself, like who you are, and becoming someone new.
Absolutely. And I think, we had a lot of conversations and talked about what movies she should watch before we started filming. But that's not to say, that Madonna was just, it was easy. Madonna was just being Madonna. She wasn't.
Right.
She was giving that persona to the character of Susan, but she was saying totally scripted lines. She was finding her, that little X, her mark on the floor where she had to stand and move, and the camera had to be choreographed. There's a lot of technical and acting stuff involved. It wasn't just sort of, hey, Madonna, just be Madonna and we'll turn the camera on. But she's also, the one thing I realized about her is that she's an incredibly disciplined person. Maybe some of that comes from her dance background, or her just sort of professional focus, determination, drive. But she was, you know, um, she's very structured in a way and disciplined about how she lives her